What was it like joining a roster and playing the token bad guy for this one?
Amazing, as you can imagine. It was, delightful to be asked, and to be even, although not a hook-wielding baddie, to be essentially the baddie. It's a lovely script, very sweet story, quite sort of bittersweet, which I like, and beautiful production design, very authentic kind of 50s Britain, and then Winnie the Pooh movie, so what more can you ask for?
When you read that script, what was it about that script that made it so special?
I think the thing that stood out at the beginning was that the characters all felt familiar. So I felt like I could hear the tone of Winnie the Pooh and all the animals that I'd read in the A.A. Milne books. So they'd captured the spirit that he had created, I think, beautifully. And then I thought, I was really moved by it. I thought it wasn't afraid to show sadness and to show difficulty in relationships when you go through adversity like war and come back and are expected to be a provider and be inundated with the responsibilities all of a sudden, that takes its toll on your spirit or your sense of play and creativity and imagination, and suddenly those things take a back seat. But they become, I think, increasingly important in times of stress. And so this film kind of shows that really beautifully and very gently as well, at the same time just being very charming and warm.
When you got the initial script written, I think a part of it was written by Alex Prosperi, who's this amazing kind of indie writer, what was your kind of first impressions on the material and what Disney wanted to do with the movie?
When I first saw it, I instantly thought this is a movie I wanted to do. You can't say no to Pooh. He's one of the most celebrated characters, and there were a lot of things in line as first. I was on a flight with my daughter once, and she was watching a Pooh cartoon and turned to me, "Can you just make a film for kids now? And you just did zombies. Can we do something for the kids?" And I said, "Why don't we do Pooh?" And she said, "Yeah, do Pooh." And I said, "But if I do Pooh, it's not just for kids. It's also for grown-ups, because of the Poohisms. They're so, they have so much philosophy in them." So basically that was the beginning of it, and then I followed it up and realized that Disney was developing something for 15 years with many writers, and that latest draft was from Alex Prosperi, and I got very excited.
Just talking to the director about this project, how it was gestating for a long time, and then Alex Prosperi, this amazing indie writer-director, came along with an idea.
Yeah.
When you read the script, were you initially kind of excited that this was kind of a unique take? There wasn't just a Winnie the Pooh sort of straight-laced adaptation, if you like.
Yeah. I thought it was very clever, and I think and I was impressed with the writing. Alex did a brilliant job. Yeah.
How did you first get involved with Christopher Robin?
I filmed Darkest Hour, and I think some of the producers saw me in that and asked me to audition for Christopher Robin. A few audition tapes, and then I went up to London to the studios that they filmed in to meet the producers and Mark. And we did a few of the scenes that they didn't end up using in the film.
What was the kind of appeal for this one? Because I know you've been involved in a lot of Disney projects in the past. What was the appeal of Christopher Robin?
The appeal of this one were the characters themselves. These are just characters that are so indelible and have been with me since childhood, ever since I've read these books. And so to be able to come back and sort of reinvent them in a way that we'd never seen them before, and to be able to tell a story through the perspective of now the adult Christopher Robin, was just, to me, just a great opportunity.
You get the call, do you want to voice Kangaroo in a Winnie the Pooh film? I guess it didn't take much for you to say yes.
It was yes. Thank you very much. When should I be there?
When you were a child, did the books play a big part in your childhood? Because everyone says that they're such a big part of their childhood.
Big part in my childhood. I read them to my daughter, her growing up, so I feel like it's just always been around. I've still got my childhood books. I read them to my daughter. I've still got them at home on the shelf. So yeah. As
an actress, I mean, what's more difficult? Is it going into a booth and recording a voice with no one, kind of, no other actors with you, or you had Rue with you?
She was amazing.
So how was that? That must have been quite good for the two of you to kind of go together.
When they separated, I didn't like it because we could sort of we did a lot of improvising and the sound, the noises and stuff. So, but each job has its different challenges. It was really nice. It was really sweet and really lovely, and Mark's wonderful.
What was the biggest challenge with this song? Because obviously you've got a lot of live action, but also you've got the animated and everything else going on. I mean, what was the biggest challenge? I mean, you've done similar stuff, I guess, with Bond to a degree, but this is obviously Disney. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're dealing with an iconic character, and you would try to be respectful to it. The good thing is, at this time when I did Bond, there was a writer's strike, so we didn't have a script, and now we had actually time to develop a proper script.
Let me ask you about working with Ewan and Hayley, who are, very, done acting for a very, very long time, have been in some big movies. What was it like working with them?
Well, they were just really great to work with. It was fantastic experience, and so comfortable, and like they're really respectful to me. Like I sort of don't feel like a kid working on it. They just treat me like I'm not a kid. I'm like elder. You know, they're really nice.
This is my second time working with Ewan, and we went to the same drama school together. I mean, he wasn't in the same year as me, but I think he's very charismatic, but also playful. He's like a big kid, and so on set he was very charming and just kind of jumps into this world just seamlessly, and it kind of embraces it from day one. So I think he brings a natural likability on set and on screen.
What made Ewan perfect for this? Because he's fantastic in the movie, and obviously you worked with him before in Stay. I mean, what made him perfect to play the adult Christopher Robin?
You know, we've been very close friends, and I always wanted to work with him again, and I felt like he has that inner child in him, and that's what I was looking for.
And I think you're going to work with him again very soon on something on IMDb says you might be working with him again.
Yes,
is it something that you want to continue work with him because you have a great relationship, I guess?
Love working with him. He's the best. It's just been so much fun and such a great collaborative relationship. I really loved it.
You played a young Obi-Wan. This one you're playing the older version. Was it more difficult playing the older Christopher Robin without too much context, or did you go back to the books to have a read through and all that kind of stuff?
I didn't really feel like. I mean, I read the first book a little bit, and I looked at some of the cartoons. But the truth is, when I read the script, I just feel every now and again there's a part that comes along that's absolutely right for you at that time in your life, and that's what I felt like here. I thought like, oh yeah, I just had I knew exactly how to play him, and I don't always feel like that. Sometimes you have to work at it, but I read the script and I thought, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's go.
And it felt like that. And then Mark is such a wonderful director because he allows you to create. He allows you the freedom to try things, express yourself, and he'll guide you if he needs to. But he's a really lovely collaborative director to work for. So that was good.
Was they the books that you read as a child? I can imagine they had a big impact on so many people involved with this movie.
I remember reading them and being read them, and then really honestly the Disney version is what I know the best from Wonderful World of Disney Time. There were clips on everything, screen test, it was always on. And I definitely remember going to see Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day. That's stuck in my mind. And I think the thing that's eternal about it is the sort of simplicity of it, Pooh's view of the world, and actually the cleverness. If you look at those, you look at the animals, the toys, what they represent, you know, especially Eeyore. Eeyore has become as a word that has passed into the language as that sort of glass half empty person. We all know Eeyore, and I just love that kind of. It's like something that was already nostalgic when it was created, because I think the world that A.A. Milne was talking about for his son was already sort of in a hazy golden past. The 100-acre wood is like a sort of mythic place, isn't it?
You got Piglet there with you, very smartly dressed as he is. What was as a child? I mean, did your mum read you Winnie the Pooh books when you were growing up?
My parents used to read them to me. I had a lot of the pull-out books, you know, teddies, blankets, you know, all of that. And they gave the Piglet to me at the end of filming Christopher Robin.
Is that the actual one from the movie?
They had two they filmed with. They called them stuffies, and this was one of the stuffies.
Fantastic, that's amazing. Very smartly dressed. Did you dress like that all the time, or did you dress him?
My grandma made this.
The thing that flagged my interest in the first place was that you had the amazing Alex Ross Perry as one of your screenwriters originally. He does some fantastic sort of indie movies, but he had seemingly an interesting take that was the catalyst for you to begin this project.
Absolutely. I had an unexpected incoming call about Alex as someone who could be interested in this. I was a fan of his, and I like the idea of taking people outside of the normal family genre and bringing them into that, because they always bring a new perspective. So we met and talked about this and immediately hit it off. And he delivered some of the best moments of this movie. It's tremendous work.
And you've got, a fantastic cast led by Ewan, who's known to many as Obi-Wan Kenobi. But what made him perfect to take on this role? Because in Obi-Wan, he plays a younger version. In this, he plays an older version of a character.
That's quite right. Good point. I hadn't thought of it that way. I thought, and I know Mark really agreed, that Ewan was the most ideal actor to portray this role. He has a simultaneous ability to show the weight of the adulthood that life has saddled on him, but also the incredible joy of the boyhood that is never entirely lost. And so to be able to carry both those things in one performance is a difficult thing, and he does it so well.
What was it like in obviously you did a sequence with the guys in the when you were playing Wimbledon, when you were Wimbledon champion and everything else? I mean, what was that like? Because obviously you don't have them there with you, but you have these kind of stand-ins, I guess.
Yeah, they have the readers, like they don't have the actual voice actors there, but they have some puppeteers who are also all really great to work with, and they did the voices for the animals. And when I ran round the court saying "Woo, Madeline won," you know. I remember I wasn't saying it so loud, so they had to have all the crew like scream "Hooray for Madeline," you know, as well as the animals. So yeah.
Just finally, I wanted to ask you about Marvel and Avengers and everything. First off, have you seen Infinity War, and did you go through a lot of emotions?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, it's great. I think they're so clever. You know, I love the Russo brothers very much, and Marcus and McFeely and Louis D'Esposito. I mean, all those guys I think they're brilliant at what they do.
The reason I ask you is obviously in the fourth one there's talk of time travel and time displacement and 1960s and 1940s and all this kind of stuff. Have they called you? Would you like to go back? Because I know Peggy's obviously dead, but there's potential to go back in that era, surely.
I remember I was doing a play this year, and I came off stage. This man came up to me and went, "So let me talk to you about Thanos. Congratulations, mate. But anyway, the stones of something."
Hello, my darling. You all right?
Yes, I'm good. And he just kind of talked at me about the plot, and I just went, "I'm sorry, who is Thanos? I'm really I'm absolutely love being in that world, but I don't know anything, and they wouldn't tell me because they probably know I would talk about it." It's incredible how that's taken the world by storm. It's beautiful. Yeah.
I hope you do pop up. I hope Peggy Carter maybe pops up one day. Thank you so much for your time. Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, I had to sing a bit, which is not something I'm used to doing. That was a little bit embarrassing, but it's with everybody else, so you won't hear it. Or if you hear someone flat, that was probably me.
You've done some amazing stuff. You're doing the new Hellboy, which a lot of comic book fans are very, very excited about. Can you tell me anything about it? Because it's kind of new version, but still in keeping with the character.
I don't think I can say anything about it.
How's David Harbour in the role, though? Because everyone loves him from Stranger Things.
It's proper actor. Brilliant. It's really good. I mean, I had never seen the Hellboys before, so I was like coming totally green to it, but all my friends are fanatical about it, so yeah. And I'm glad I didn't know so much about it before I started. I thought I'd been really nervous.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to that one, and whatever you do is fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. It's a fantastic cast in this as well. As you expect from Disney, they pull in the big guns. What was it like working with Ewan and Hayley and all the other guys in this
wonderful.
one?
Well, I mean, I never worked with Ewan before. I did a film we were in together called Our Kind of Traitor. We met briefly at Ealing Studios. We didn't have any scenes. We spent quite a lot of time together, and we had a really good laugh, I have to say. Really good time. He's a delightful man, and it was just what you wanted it to be. You know, it was a big movie. And I don't think I've ever done anything with so many extras. It was a big production. You think, oh my God, I'm slightly pinching myself with this big Disney movie. But it couldn't have been more delightful. Mark was wonderful, and Ewan and Hayley. I don't really have any scenes with her. I've known her for years, Hayley. And I remember I think I did her first TV job, and she was so amazing and so beautiful. And I said to her, "What are you doing after this?" She said, "I'm doing a film with Woody Allen." I went, "Okay, yeah, you'll be all right."
They've obviously doing episode 9. They brought Lando Calrissian back. They brought young Han Solo. Are you kind of itching at the you want to get back to it if they were to give you the opportunity? Because it seems like there's an Obi-Wan story to tell in there somewhere.
Yeah, I'd be up for it. I've said that for years. I'd be up for it. I don't know if it's happening. I have no idea, but I'd be happy to do it. Yeah, I'd like to do it. It'd be good.
With this one, I mean, with Disney, there's so many of these classic tales coming back to being reimagined for live action. I know you're involved in a few. Do you know which ones you've got coming up next? I mean, there's a plethora of them next year. I know Lion King and Aladdin.
The studio has many. For me personally, we're starting work this fall on Lady and the Tramp.
Fantastic.
So we'll utilize a blend of real dogs, which of course, why not, with digital stand-ins. So it'll be a real interesting challenge to tell that story that way.
And now I wanted to ask you just quickly about World War Z 2. I know obviously you haven't been attached, but is that something that you would have liked to have revisited if you had the chance after the first one?
No, to be honest, not. I like switching around, and I always wanted to make the first one, and I do think, I'm sure this will be a great sequel, but it's not the zombie genre. After I did it once, was not something I want to dive in right away. So I think something like Pooh is right now much more positive and lovely at the time we live in. I think there are already too many zombies around
Just finally, I wanted to ask you, I don't know if you've seen this, there was some news, a report yesterday from the guy who owns a cafe in Baker Street next to Sherlock saying that he's been told that there's a Series 5 and it's definitely happening. You might know better than more serial.
If you've seen that, you might have seen my tweet in response, which
I haven't
is
seen it, so that was
utter
my question.
nonsense.
Utter nonsense. Are you hopeful? I mean, Benedict and Martin are in Marvel movies and in these expanded universes and stuff.
We've already said we're not really out at all, but we've left it at a place where we can leave it or we can come back. We're making Dracula, which is going to take at least 2.5 years, so there's no immediate prospect, but we certainly never say never.
What did you think of the final film when you saw it, and what do you think people will think when they come out of the cinema?
Well, I hope people just stay there for like the whole credits, just taking it all in, because it's just really special and magical, and you should like always have the memory forever, basically, when you watch it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey